got to thank my sponsors. I got to thank the Fat Boy app to start off with. Hey, the Fat Boy app is a mom and pop restaurant locator. They are locally owned in Clay, Kentucky. A mom and pop restaurant locator. What is that? That is, hey, listen, what do you want to eat? And you get tired of hearing somebody say, I don't know, what do you want? I don't know. Pull up the mom and pop restaurant locator. Download this app, available on Android and iOS, Apple, and just restaurant near me. It's going to bring you to the mom and pop restaurants, not them big chain restaurants, but the mom and pop locally owned restaurants. So if you're driving to the mountains of Tennessee, you're going to go down there to old Gatlinburg. Pull up that mom and pop restaurant locator, the Fat Boy app, and see what kind of restaurants that you probably didn't even know was along that route. Check them out today. Download them. Become a Fat Boy or Dining Diva. There's perks to it. You need to go check them out. You can find them on Facebook, and you can find them on the web, www.fatboyapp.com. There it is right there. You snooze, you lose, folks. Hey, listen, you need some new tires. Jake Wolf at Wolf's Customs is going to take care of you. You mentioned Front Porch America, that you seen it here. You're going to get 10% off your order. And for the rest of this month, he's donating some money toward autistic benefits. So take advantage of that as well and do something good for once. Not that you don't do it anyway, but just do something good for once and go see Jake at Wolf's Customs. Get your. Hey, he'll even put some air in that low tire. You got that low tire light coming on. He'll put some air in it. Stephen Watson at Watson's Transmissions. Let me tell you about Stephen and his transmission work. Listen, your truck's shimmying and shaking. It's just not pulling that load. It's not pulling that load like you want. It's slipping when it shifts into second to third gear. Go see Stephen Watson, man. This man can tear one down and put it back together with one arm tied behind his back, blindfolded while jumping on a pogo stick. He's that good. So go check him out. That's Stephen Watson's and Watson's Transmissions. Thanks to Ironstein Coffee there in Morganfield, Kentucky. Hey, listen, Jerry and his buddies got some really good coffee, man. They're roasting that stuff. They're roasting those beans right there in Morganfield. Check them out, dude. Listen, if you got a business and you want your name on some coffee, they can hook you up. They can create your own little coffee for your clientele or just to hand out as gifts. You wanna impress your in-laws at Christmas. Get their own special coffee that they're at Ironstein. Go to Jen's General Store for that old timey candy, those old timey soft drinks, and some ice cream and sandwiches and just anything you can think of, man. Jen's General Store's got it. You step in the doors and it's going to take you back to when you were a kid, because I know it does for me when I go in there. I get caught up in just browsing all the candies they got sitting around like in the old days. I remember going to some stores when I was a kid, and they just had them candy bins, and you just take a little scoop. Well, that's what you get there at Jen's General Store, so go check her out. Again, all my sponsors, man, I really appreciate you guys, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Front Porch America. So, welcome to the Front Porch America podcast. I am here with the one, the only, the legendary Mayor of Morganfield, Randy Greenwell. Now, Randy, before we get started talking about all the things that's been going on in Morganfield and what you got coming up, I'm going to give you a gift. There's a little something from our sponsors.
Oh, we sure appreciate it.
We've got a few sponsors on board with us now, so I'm pretty grateful for them. They always like to try to help me out and give my guests some things. So let's just go ahead and get into it, and let's talk about your road to becoming mayor.
All right. Well, I worked at a telephone company 36 years, and they kept trying to get me to take a supervisor job in Henderson. Telephone companies like government. You got so many politics involved and everything. So
Right.
I finally told them I would take it if they let me run it my own way. Well, in 2 years in Henderson, we cut the trouble load down from 150 case trouble day to 4. So they found out I was a problem solver.
Oh, wow.
Went to forward on hurricane damage and got a good name down there. It's people of Louisville. The guy over the state of Louisville, Mike Hargrove, great guy, called me and he said, I'm about to lose my job. I need your help. So I go to Louisville, which is a big town. I'm a computer geek, so pulled up everything computer, and they had 2,000 case trouble a day. I mean, it was crazy. People from out of town, so I finally said the same thing. I'll come over and help you if you let me run my business. Nobody tells me how to do my job. So in 2 years, we cut the trouble load from 2,000 case trouble a day to 50 case trouble a day in all of Louisville.
Wow.
$6.5 million off budget. So when I saw Morganfield not moving, I'm passionate about Morganfield. I'm a problem solver, so that's when I decided to run for mayor. My campaign was running on common sense. If it's broke, fix it. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
so that's kind of how I got involved because I think Morganfield is a beautiful town.
Right.
My theory is we don't have a riverfront, we don't have all that, but we have history.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Morganfield
history in
has got
Morganfield.
incredible history, so that's kind of what we based on. The very first thing we did was the golf cart ordinance, which trying to convert toward tourism.
Yeah.
You know, I went around a lot of towns, and the coal mine towns, when the coal mines collapsed, survived off tourism. So that's what we're making Morganfield too. And if you drive through Morganfield now and look at it 4 or 5 years ago, it's different.
Yeah. Just it's a big difference.
Downtown,
you know.
I got 2 people want to come to Morganfield. There's no buildings downtown. You got the big building, but
Right.
a guy called me from Henderson the other day. It's coming to Morganfield, and he said that there's something special going on in Morganfield, which is kind of heartwarming.
That's pretty awesome that
Yeah.
people from out of town are noticing things like that.
And
So,
if you go talk to our local business people, they're fantastic. Now, that's what makes it.
Right.
You know, what you see is what you get.
so when you started your journey as the mayor, I noticed that you worked primarily on grants, and
Exactly.
free money funding,
Exactly.
right? So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but 95 to 99% of the stuff you've gotten done.
It's been through grants. This year, when we just got a grant the other day to treat the PFAS, the Forever Chemical Water System, $7 million, got 100% paid for.
Wow.
So by then next year, we'll have spent over $20 million on the sewer system, and the city's been out about 800,000.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty impressive.
That is real
Yeah.
impressive, actually, because most of these cities around here. I mean, there's been cities that have like given themselves up to the county and even closed,
Yeah.
I guess, if you will, because they can't find the funding or they don't have the right people in
Yeah,
the right
exactly.
places. So let's talk about some of the things that you've accomplished since being mayor. What's something that you're really proud of?
Right now, the biggest thing we've been working on the most is the mural and the splash pad.
Yeah.
The mural, when we first started talking about the mural, some of the people said, we don't want to spend city money. So I raised money myself. Sit there and had a lot of donations. Actually raised more money than I needed. Had 2 local artists, Steve Lane and Rebecca Vincent. We talked about that in 2019. It became a dream. In 2023, it became reality. And they did a fantastic job.
It's gorgeous.
And you look up there, and it basically tells you history of Morganfield.
Yeah.
You know, on the left, you got the farm, which Morganfield or Union County is always number 1 to number 3 in corn and soybeans. On the right, you got coal mines. We got the largest cavern mines in the United States, possibly the world.
Wow.
You got Abraham Lincoln, who made his only political speech in Morganfield on a courthouse steps for a Whig candidate. You got Breckenridge, which was the largest German POW camp in the South.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize the history of Breckenridge.
Yeah.
It was a military base back during World War II. That I guess the Screaming Eagles, 101st,
Exactly.
used
101st.
to actually be there. And now, they moved off to Fort Campbell. Down around
Jackie
Clarksville.
Robinson was discovered out there as lieutenant.
Yeah. And I just seen a post the other day on Facebook about somebody else that spent some time at Camp Brecken or at Job Corps. And we'll get into that
Yep.
here, talking about Job Corps here in a minute. But somebody famous also, other than those guys, passed through here, and I can't remember who it was. I should have brushed up on it before we got in here, but I'll look at it and I'll post it in the video. So the mural, and then that was something that was really, really cool to see happen. Was you get out there and you put a lot of your own money
A
into
lot
it,
of more money.
and then eventually you had some more donors come in
Exactly.
and donate some things. And I know at the fire station, the mural of the Maltese cross on the door, I think you shoved some of your money toward
Exactly.
it as well. But yeah, so Rebecca and them they done a fantastic
They
job
did.
on painting that. Now, what's the lifespan on that paint?
When I
how
talked
does
to
that work?
Steve, he said it's got a lifetime, it's got a warranty of 20 years. They don't know how long it'll last because he's actually painted some 18 years ago, so it looks exactly like the day they put it on.
So
We really don't know the lifespan on it.
the mural, did you see a mural from another city or another town that you just is that what kind of got you into?
Well, no,
wanting the
really.
mural?
Like I said, Steve came in and talked to me one day. Right after I became mayor in 2019, got talking and kind of got my enthusiasm going a little bit. And then, like I said, and kept going back and forth. And just like grants, like I said, when you talk about grants, we got an actual grant from National Down to the Arts still.
Oh, wow.
If you talk to somebody, it's a big difference. So we got turned down once or twice, and I was talking to a lady named Alexandria Fogel at National Down to the Arts. And she really loved the project. There's so much competition in this grant, she said you would have a lot better chance if you're in the Challenge America grant. I said, what's that? She said, they want one art project each congressional district. So I said, how do I get involved in that? She said, you have to be invited. How do I get invited? She said, I'll invite you right now. A month later, I've got a check for $10,000.
Wow,
So,
that's really
talking
cool.
to somebody, and the mural sells itself. I mean,
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Beautiful job. That coal mine job, when they were doing the coal mine, some lady and husband came up and said, that's our son. So if you actually, there's coop on the hard hat. So
Oh, that's
it's
really
that
cool.
realistic. So.
That's yeah, and that was another thing that the amount of detail that they put
It's
into
just
it is
crazy.
phenomenal. Like it's and for a lot of people who don't realize this, and I'll let you tell the story. Maybelline,
Yep.
the big makeup company, it all started here in
And I
Morganfield, right?
started, and when I found out about Maybelline starting in Morganfield, actually they lived down there somewhere behind McDonald's. They were big farmers. The land at St. Vincent was donated by the Williams family, which is Maybelline. In 1915, Mabel burned her eyebrows off in a cooking accident and fixed it with burnt cork, petroleum jelly, and coal dust.
Wow,
And Thomas Lauer Brothers says, anybody done it? And that's where Maybelline got started.
well, that's really
So
cool.
when I contacted the Maybelline family, I contacted Sherry Williams, who wrote the book. Great people. So I'm not asked for money, I'm asked for permission. And we end up with 3 hour and 15-minute Zoom meetings, which you
Wow.
can see on YouTube.
Yeah,
And they start out with about 5, end up about 20, and half of them never met each other. So 12 of them came to Morganfield for Family Union during the Corn Festival.
well, that's really cool.
And it was absolutely fantastic. They were so down to earth. They never had been in a small town. She said they watched the Gilmore Girls, see what small town's life is like. I said,
Oh, ain't
you
that
probably
crazy?
should have watched Joe Dirt. No, Morganfield was different.
Probably so.
When they were down here, took them on a tour of the coal mines.
Yeah.
So they went 700 foot deep and 6.5
That's really
miles
cool.
over because they'll never, and they absolutely loved it.
That's really cool. Yeah, that is something. A lot of people take our small town living for granted.
Exactly.
I've met people who's never actually seen a live cow before,
You're right.
and it just blows my mind. Like I can't fathom that. I'm like, how can you not see a live cow in person? But there's places
Yeah.
that in the cities that they don't venture out. Yeah. So you get the mural done. Now we're going to move into the splash pad park area. So kind of talk to me about that.
Okay.
Explain how that come about.
When we bought that lot and everything, wanted to make it a splash pad first and kind of a green space. And there's an architect named Rachel Harmon from Morganfield originally. She's in Louisville now, and called me and she said, I want to design your park. I said, what are you talking about compensations? She said, I want to give back to the city. And she has done all this on her own. And I mean, it looks like Central Park.
And she drew it up.
She drew everything up.
It looked really,
It-
really
it-
good.
it-
And it's
it-
really cool that I'm sitting here listening to that the people who are interested in getting involved with this have ties to Morganfield.
Exactly.
That's what's really cool. So, it may be outsourced to an extent, but it's still local because their roots are here.
They are.
So that makes a big difference. What's been the struggle with getting that splash pad to come to life?
But part of it is a land and water grant, which is a 3 to 5 year project.
Right.
The engineering, when you go with a splash pad, it's like a pool system. It takes forever to get approval. So all that approval has been done. Like I said, we just went through the bid process. So we got 3 bids. So at the next council meeting, they'll figure out which bid they want to start. So they're going to work with. But it's going to be we're guessing a 6-week period once they start.
Oh, nice.
So it includes a handicap accessible restroom. It includes a lot of landscaping. The splash pad is a hydro splash pad. There's no electricity.
Oh, wow.
Works off water pressure. I went to Ohio and looked at some of them. It's got the dump bucket and everything. So
Oh, nice.
it's crazy. The architect, the engineer that drew it up is actually drew one up identical to it in Vine Grove.
Oh,
Kentucky.
okay.
But it's 50 foot wide.
Nice.
It's unique. It's completely handicap accessible. So every picture you see has a person in a wheelchair in it. The restroom is going to be handicap accessible, and she did a fantastic job designing that. Have all
Yeah,
tile
it's-
walls. It'll have the HVAC heat in it and everything.
Wow,
so-
that's really nice. I looked at the pictures and the diagrams, and it's really, really cool to see. Now, back when we were at the fire station, when I was at the fire station, I noticed that we done the Christmas thing.
Yep.
Talk about that because
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken, that was like the first time it had ever been done.
And I tell you,
or-
they always had an open house, and men should not be left to babysit themselves.
right.
So anyway, so the first year I was in, Jerry Dunk and myself were babysitting herself at a Mexican restaurant, drinking margaritas. The 4th margarita, we came up with an idea that we need to do something spectacular. So we came up with the tree lighting ceremony, and actually went out and cut a tree down.
Yep.
Had a bunch of firefighters help cut it down and everything. Of course, or cutting down. I had to trip and fall like I always do, and somehow or another, I got a selfie of myself falling. I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
it was an accident. But,
Yeah, we're gonna have
but
to
that was
find that.
cool.
We may have to. You may have to send that to me so I can put it on this
But
video.
in within 30 days, we pulled it off, and business came together. The fire department and the street department helped out decorating, and it was you cannot move downtown.
No, it
They
was
had their own
packed.
pictures, and
It was
it's
packed.
been that way every year.
It was it was really a neat experience and something neat to be a part of. And it's continued every year since
and
then.
see, from that started a group called Grow Morganfield, which is now 501c that just make events happen in Morganfield. From that became Morganfield Business Association, which put on the art project and everything. From that came Cultivate Kentucky, which is really going to be huge in Morganfield. And you're going to see a lot of projects I'm not able to talk about right
Yeah,
now, but
yeah.
it's going to be fantastic in Morganfield. And Cultivate Kentucky has people all over Kentucky that want to do things in Morganfield.
That's
Some
really
brilliant
cool.
people. I mean, just
Ain't that's funny how just one little ceremony opens up all these other doors and all these other opportunities to bring stuff in. And you know, if you look back on it, it seems like Morgan, you know, these cities like Morganfield kind of get left in the dark because I always hear, well, we don't have a freeway, or we
Yeah.
don't have riverfront, or we don't have this, and it seems like people just sit back and make excuses instead of taking action like
Exactly.
you have, right? I know, you know, this is what your second term as mayor,
second term as mayor.
and you every single, I mean, it's you're always doing stuff. You're always out
Yeah,
there
we've got so
grinding,
many
and
projects going right now.
yeah, and that's so. Any other new projects that you can talk about, or
Well, like I said, the PFA system for the water treatment, everything that's going to be a huge project. The next step, we just replaced $6.3 million worth of sewer lines and manhole, relined 320 brick manholes, Job Corps, 100% paid for. Phase 3 will start next week, which
Wow.
that's the last phase of sewer separation. And see, when I got in, things just kept getting pushed down the road, which it's not anybody's fault that people don't want to spend the money.
right?
So now we got the phase 3 is going to be 4.9 million. You know, years ago they could have done all of them for that. And now we're going to end up with 13 million
Wow.
in sewer separation.
And these sewer systems are how old is this?
Oh,
system?
most of them are put in the early 40s.
Yeah.
Like
So
I said, and they bought years ago in 1968. They bought the old military stuff, all that whisper metal and all that for $1. Well, that's great, but they didn't do anything to it. So over the years, it all collapses, all oversized.
yeah.
Now you got a 3-foot sewer where you got 10 people on it. It's just going to collapse. So we've that's where we concentrate a lot of effort, trying to keep them going back every time.
Do you feel like if you don't have a good infrastructure, then you're just kind of backpedaling? You can't progress, I guess.
You know, one example, we had a sewer line collapse during COVID behind a dog pound, going to ditch and everything. And I talked to my sewer man. I said, well, normally they'd patch it, but the only way to fix it right is boring 300 feet, 12-inch sewer, $30,000. You know, my career's in maintenance. Let's fix it right. Let's be done. 2 weeks later, I'm talking to FEMA about COVID money, and she said, do you have anything with spring rains? I said, well, I had a sewer washed out. She said, if you fix it right, we'll repay you. Got 100% of it back.
Wow.
So it's crazy. We had 293,000 in gas lines exposed that we had to get rebored. They were going to borrow the money. So let me talk to FEMA. Ended up getting all that paid for.
Wow.
But now the 8 sewer lines we had then, where they averaged $30,000, now our gas line replaced now is $130,000. I mean,
Oh wow. So it's
crazy how
tripled,
price has gone up.
Well, yeah, more than tripled, I guess, from 30,000 to 100.
yeah, no, it's crazy. And like I said, in the grant process, a lot of it's a long process.
It is.
It's time consuming, so you got to spend a lot of time.
So
on it.
how much resistance? And we'll get into the swimming pool closing
Sure.
the Morganfield swimming pool.
Yeah.
You know, that was a big deal for a lot of people,
And it
and
was.
understandable,
Yeah.
right? But kind of explain the thoughts, why and how. You know, what was the reason
Sure,
for
and,
doing
you know,
that?
we looked
I mean,
at that. The pool was built in 1930 something by donations, $5,000.
Wow.
It got where it leaked so bad, and to bring it up to standards, we'd have to spend over $1 million on it.
Wow.
And
people don't realize that it costs that much.
you know, we
to-
lost $30,000 to $40,000 every year in the pool anyway. With COVID, when chemicals went up, it would have been $100,000.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing now, you don't see any municipal swim pools. You see private aqua centers.
Right.
I talked to a group that's trying to build one in Henderson because that pool just got a few years left. $20 million for startup.
I think
For
crazy.
the aqua center. But and people understand a lot of that stuff. We need a skate. We do need a lot of that stuff.
Right.
But that's not something the city does. You know, private business come in and do it.
Right.
And I have no doubt that if you got the right people invest, they would make money.
Yeah, absolutely they would. You know, and that's what I think a lot of people. You had a lot of pushback on the splash pad,
Yep.
splash park as well. But you know, I think some of the stuff was, well, what about liability and
Yeah.
how is that going to work? Just
The
for
liability, because we're not using recycled water, it makes a big difference. You know,
Okay.
we make our own water, so we don't have to worry about the water pollution or anything like
That's
that.
nice.
You don't have to have somebody there 24/7. It's got a push button where you turn it on, it stays on for 2 minutes or whatever. But like I said, it's just the middle of the splash pad.
Yeah,
But the liability on that is not near the liability of the
and,
swimming pool.
if it stays on for 2 minutes, I promise you, there's going to be plenty of kids keeping
Oh,
that thing
hitting it
going
all the
in
time, which is
circulation.
gonna be really cool.
They'll probably designate the smallest
Yeah.
one to send over and push
And
that
you know,
button.
you can change the timer, but we'll
Right,
just
yeah.
see how it works out.
Yeah, just I feel like once it's finished, it's going to be a big hit for a while,
You know,
for a long time.
And the phase one is this part. The phase two, we're talking about buying some land behind it to make extra parking
Okay,
and drive through to McElroy Street,
okay,
because
yeah,
that's going to be a big hit.
it is. It
When you
is.
get something like that people come to see, they're going to turn around. They got to eat. They're going to go to the restaurant and eat. Or they're going to walk around and see something unique in Morganfield. And
Yeah.
word of mouth is going to make a big difference.
So let's talk about restaurants in Morganfield.
Okay.
I've seen we've got a couple of new Mexican restaurant
Yep.
there across from the Beverage Barn. But at one time, I think what is it? Right there on the corner by Chuckles,
Yep. There was supposed to be
Mr. D's was going to come
Mr.
in.
D's.
What happened?
And Mr. D's, he's a great guy, but he kept saying these things on Facebook about people can't find help. And it kind of scared him away.
That
And
makes
he was
sense.
advised not to. And I can understand that in these days'
Yeah.
time. So that's going to be a nice lot if somebody needs it.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, and he's got a point. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of restaurants have shut down, not because they're not selling food, it's because they don't have anybody
Can't
there to
help it,
work.
and it's really
and you
bad.
can't have one or two people running a pretty busy restaurant.
and-
and Mr. D's and Henderson's always,
It's
they're busy
always
'cause
busy.
they've got
I
good
went
food.
by there one Sunday and there was only one person working outside.
Yeah, and
they were
that's
working hard.
And I don't understand, why do you think people don't work anymore? You think this handout from COVID had a lot to do
I
with
think it
it?
had a lot to do with it. And people are raised different now.
They are.
Back when I was, you had to work. I mowed 50 or 20 yards at once.
Well,
And that's
for
what I was
those who
raised.
don't know, this man here dug his basement by hand and pushed out with wheelbarrows. How many wheelbarrow loads a night would you do?
I would do 50 I would not quit till I got 50 wheelbarrow loads. If I got off at midnight, I got 50 wheelbarrow loads, because if I did 40 one night, it'd be 38 the next night. But if anybody's ever seen it, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, and it was all. I mean, you did it all the way up until you got to where you could actually get like a little skid steer
I got
bobcat
a
or
little
something in.
3 foot-
But by
I bought-
then, you
yeah.
had almost.
And you couldn't dig with it. I just tilled it up
Yeah.
and caught out with it.
Yeah, so that's crazy. I don't think I know if anybody else has ever done that. You've done some pretty remarkable stuff in your time. Had a lot of freak accidents
Yep.
happen to
Oh,
you
yeah.
too. I
I've
mean,
been run over by a car 4 times. Fell off a 32-foot ladder.
you didn't learn.
Had
Didn't
a
learn the
weird
first time.
cancer that nobody ever seen before.
Oh yeah, the throat cancer
And
or
that
something
was,
like that.
I
Was
got,
it?
and it went pretty quick. When I retired from telephone company, I worked out Job Corps and phone system for a while. They messed up and gave me a key to the gym, which I love to play basketball.
Right.
So every day I'd go over and I'd run for 30 minutes. I'd shoot for 30 minutes. If I didn't do it for a month and got ready to go back right before I quit, I couldn't run 10 feet. So Dr. Clapp, great doctor, went out there, didn't see anything in the x-ray. There's something going on. Because, I could walk 5 feet and it would whistle when you breathe. So he ran a scan. There was actually a tumor on my heart that had windpipe crust.
Oh, unbelievable.
2 recorded cases ever, Johns Hopkins University. We could not find a doctor to work on it. Sent me a doctor in Evansville. He said, I can do anything. Then he goes and looks at a scan behind the wall, doesn't realize we can hear right through the walls. Exact words were, oh, crap, that's awful. How unlucky can you get? Which is not good from your doctor.
Right. Yeah.
My son-in-law is a doctor, so he kept looking. They finally found a doctor at Indiana University, Dr. Kessler, and he said, I'll do it. So he actually, long surgery, said about 50 doctors watching every single surgery. Had to completely move my heart, completely move my windpipe, cut 3 inches out of my windpipe, or completely move my voice box, 3 on the windpipe, sewed my head and my chest for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
which everything collapsed. They thought I died, but I didn't.
Right.
2 months later, I'm remodeling my house.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. That's and that's something I've noticed about you is like, when you're met with adversities, like you bounce back really quick.
Exactly. Well,
Uh,
you have to stand up for what's right.
Yeah, and I've noticed on Facebook a lot of your posts, like, are you being met with a lot of disgruntled and just
and
ignorant?
really 95% of complaints come 5% of the people.
Yeah,
And when you make a decision in the city, I'm not looking at today. I'm looking at 10 years ahead. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of thought that goes into it, and people don't see it outside.
yeah. Yeah, they just see what's or they hear
Yeah.
what's told, and then they just see what's on the
Yeah.
surface,
And
right?
once somebody starts something, I don't answer them on Facebook because it just goes back and forth.
Yeah, and I learned that really quick. It's just a little ridiculous to get into
We
that.
started mural people putting on there. Of course, they didn't recognize Maybelline people. They were going back and forth. They said, it should have something to do with Morganfield. So I actually wrote what each mural. We didn't know that. That's why it's there.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that we've got a nice little museum just right
Fantastic.
outside of Morganfield with the Camp Breckenridge. You know, I'm a World War II. I love
Yep.
World War II things, and it's really cool. And I think that county may have remodeled
They did.
on that. I think
Those
when
murals out there are fantastic.
yeah, and those were painted by actually some POWs,
Yeah,
German
exactly.
POWs. So if y'all ever want to come and see some original POW artwork from German POWs. Camp Breckenridge in Morganfield, Kentucky is a place to go. But yeah, so we'll get back to the restaurants. So we've got. Do we have any new restaurants coming? Do we know? Can you talk about that?
Not that I know of right now. I've had several people talk about it, but
I
I
think
don't know anything moving in.
I keep telling Mandy I'd like to. I always thought Meacham's Curb out there, Meacham's Seat House, would
Yeah.
make a perfect place before it fell in or they tore it down.
Yeah.
Remodeled, kind of like the feed mill.
Exactly.
Would make a great steakhouse. You know, it's just
Yeah,
kind
you've
of
got the dollar store and the old Rite Aid are two nice
Yeah.
buildings. Of course, they're more high end buildings. They
Well,
probably have a big company
You know,
come in and does that.
I think the Rite Aid building would be a great building for a restaurant because of the parking.
It would
You know,
be.
the dollar store across the streets, the parking there's a little janky, but I
Yep.
guess you could park in the Rite Aid building.
Exactly.
But yeah, that would be so. Anybody listening out there, steakhouse would be wonderful.
It would
here.
be
I mean,
fantastic.
we don't have a steakhouse, I guess, so to speak. Whether it's a commercial or a chain or mom and pop would be even better.
You know, just like Marco's had a great breakfast and everything, country meals. I know the one Mexican place has breakfast now. It's got a good breakfast.
Oh, really?
It's on Friday and Saturday.
Which one is that? The new
The
one?
one next to the beverage barn, the Aztec
Okay,
Grill.
the new one, Aztec
Yep.
Grill. Yeah.
Really good breakfast.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, so you got the infrastructure sewer phase that's fixing, and this is what phase 3.
Phase 3, which would be
Phase
the last
3
one.
Be the last one,
Morganfield, one of the places, there's not that many that had the combined sewer,
right?
which, you know, the rainwater and sewer is the same one. And what people don't realize, when you separate it, all the rainwater's got to go down a ditch. Well, if the ditch is back up, it's not going anyplace.
Yeah.
The reason for that, we were treating so much rainwater sewer plant, you just couldn't handle it.
Okay.
And we've reduced it drastically with phase 1 and phase 2.
So the sewer in Morganfield was combined with.
The sewer and the water together.
The
So when it
water
rained real
together.
hard,
Okay.
everything backed up.
Wow, yeah, I could see where that's.
Yeah.
I mean, it has caused a lot
Exactly.
of problems. That makes a lot of sense.
Just
now.
like down there behind the dollar store where it floods now, there'll be a 4-foot just rainwater sewer going through there.
Wow, that's crazy. And I also learned that there is not another city named Morganfield
There's not.
in the United States.
Somebody said there's one in Florida. It's not. It's a township.
Yeah.
But if you Google Morganfield, it's the only city in the United States.
And it's funny
Morganfield.
because I literally just seen that. It just randomly popped up about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I'd done a deep dive
Yeah.
on it and started looking, and there is not another city. Now, there's that township, but there is
Yeah,
not another
another city,
city
exactly
in the
right.
United States named
And that's
Morganfield.
crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy. And because everywhere you go, there's a union. There's
Yep.
a union county. You know, almost every state's
Well,
got a
Jay,
union
when
county.
Jay lived in North Carolina, he lived in Union County, and the county next to it was Henderson County.
Ain't that crazy? That's really, I don't know, maybe some of the same people go
Yep.
and help start all those. I know like O'Bannon Street there in Morganfield
Yep.
was named after Presley O'Bannon, who is the Marine Corps sword is
Yeah.
actually named after. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, Morganfield, people don't understand Union County just in a whole has a lot of history that hasn't been discovered
And
by,
see where Homestead
people.
Park is now, the splash pad will be, that was the first house built in Morganfield after Morganfield established, the
Oh,
Compton
wow.
House.
Yeah.
Which Mr. Bill Byers brought all it up. So
Okay. Yeah.
he's a great historian to work with. So.
Yeah, and that was I think I was still at the fire department when the city purchased that lot, and it was a good deal. I mean,
It was.
there was a lot of opposition on it, but it's moving forward is completely. It should be your motto.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
because
people look at buying property, they look at comparing a commercial property to residence property,
Yeah.
which is totally different. And that's like us selling property. If I can sell property to business, I'm going to sell it cheaper. Because now I don't have to worry about the property anymore. They're going to start paying taxes, utilities,
And you're
and
still
people
gonna-
have jobs.
yeah, you're gonna you still make money.
Exactly
from it. I
right.
mean,
We're going to make money over time, but like I said,
you're gonna make like a quote
Yeah.
unquote a royalty type money instead of just one lump sum that's going to be
and
gone
when
and
people
not
come in
put
and
back
want to
in.
build a business, they want to do it now. So if we don't do it, they're going to go to Henderson or someplace else and do it.
Well, so if I'm not mistaken, at one time I think Toyota wanted kind of looked at Union County
Exactly.
to be here instead of Princeton, Indiana, and I guess some politicians couldn't agree on a
Exactly.
tax or something.
You know, people talk about we couldn't handle the big business. We don't have the workforce. What if Georgetown would have said that?
Well,
Georgetown was a small town when
yeah.
Toyota came in.
Well, I mean, if we don't, people don't understand that a lot of that workforce in Georgetown and even in Princeton, Indiana, Toyota or these big
Yep.
factories, they come from everywhere.
They
You know,
do.
there's people that drive 3 or 4 counties away to Princeton, Indiana to work. You know, so we would have had the workforce; they would have came.
And I went down and looked at the sewer plant down there at Georgetown, real fancy new with all the grid, all paid for by Toyota.
Isn't that really
So-
cool? So that's
So,
some
you know,
benefits.
we
of having
we would
that.
cost us $20 million to redo our sewer plant. Now there's one already built, top of the line.
Yeah. Yeah, how's that coming along? Because I know we were having some issues right before I left the fire department on the sewer plant. Has that
we
been?
did a lot of work on the sewer system. The phase 3 is supposed to be building a new sewer plant, but I mean you're talking $20 million. We're going to have to find a way to get that funded.
Yeah.
We handle, of course, all Waverly sewers,
Okay.
all our sewers, a lot of them out Western Meadows. So we do all the water in the county, and you know
Right.
that's a huge expense.
That's a
People
big.
don't realize
Yeah,
that.
that's a big thing.
You know, every time something to water the other day, a pump goes out, $50,000, and every time that happens, you know, that's on us.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like a car battery,
Yeah.
you know, $100 or something. This is like big time equipment.
Yeah,
That's
when I came in, they were actually borrowing money to make payroll. At least now we can afford to fix something.
yeah, yeah. And that was something else that I noticed that when your first term, you turned a lot of that around from. I think you and the council or whoever kind of got some loans paid off pretty
Exactly.
quick and actually started having money.
It's just like a fire truck. You know, fire trucks 400,000 to 500,000. So we did a lease program. Now in 10 years that'll be paid off. We just throw it on another one. So you've always got 2 good fire trucks.
Yeah, that's handy. That's an important service along with obviously our police department. So how do you see any any upgrades for the police department, fire department, anything like
Well,
that?
the fire department, we're probably getting ready to hire another full-time fireman.
Nice.
Of course, 911 is actually a county in our building, so eventually they're going to move out, so they'll give us more space over there.
Yeah, kind of open that up
yeah.
and
Anytime you turn around, the National Fire Commission, all of them are changing the laws where more training, different kind of training. And
right.
just like the EPA, every time the EPA makes a decision, it ends up costing us money.
I know that's crazy.
So I don't mind going to Frankfurt and making people mad and
Yeah.
hey, you came up with this rule, help us pay for it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's you can create these rules, but you got to figure out ways
Exactly.
to fund, help people fund them because you
And I
can't
actually
just.
had a real large grant that there was a lot of competition for us. How'd you get that? I said, believe it or not, I filled out in pencil. What do you mean? It was really detailed. I said, if they got 500 grant pages to look at, one of them's in pencil, they're going to put it aside. And we ended up getting that grant.
You,
We went to, with Splash Pad grant, there was a lot of competition, and they made a mistake. You had to go to Frankfurt. There's probably 100 people, and you had 5 minutes talk. I can give a 30-minute talk in 5 minutes.
right.
And I'm pretty sure I started out with the history of Morganfield and ended up with by hell we deserve it. And I'm pretty sure they looked at him and said, I don't know what in the hell he said, but give him the money and make him
Just
go
give
away.
it to him
And no question. We were the only one that got 100% of the grant out of the whole
Wow.
group. Just
That's
make him go
cool.
away.
I mean, for everybody out there, I mean, obviously you figured something out.
Yeah.
You've got some things going on, whether people like it, right, wrong, or indifferent. I've always been a huge fan, a big supporter, and it's really cool to see a stalled city
Yeah,
kind of
it
come
is.
to life, so to speak. We've had a lot of businesses open up: Jen's General
Mm-hmm.
Store, Jerry's Barbershop, Ironstein Coffee,
Yep.
which is part. Jen's and Ironstein
And
are
that's really
somewhat
cool, though.
sponsors for
Ironstein,
me.
here's coffee,
And it
and they're
is.
branching out every place.
Yeah.
Morganfield, Kentucky.
Now you can get it online. Order it right online. They'll ship it to you. You got a business. They'll make their own labels for your business,
Exactly.
which is cool. Which is I'm probably going to have them eventually do for me.
They actually got one from a band out in California.
Yeah, Jerry was telling me
Yeah.
about that. That's
Yeah,
really.
cool.
I mean, that's really cool. There's not. I mean, I guess you could go anywhere and do that, but for a small town like Morganfield, having somebody local, kind of
Exactly,
do
yeah.
that stuff. It's
And I
it's
got
really
tickled because the first shipment came in at 2 o'clock in the morning. So they know why they called me. I want to pick up and unload it. I said, we got a shipment from Columbia coming in Morganfield at 2 o'clock. It just looks suspicious. But it was great. We had folks help her unload it.
neat. Yeah, that would be funny.
They said they thought they were 75-pound bags. I said, I got bad news. That's 75-kilo bags. It's heavy. But and they got umpteen different kinds of coffee.
Well, and that
That's
was cool
crazy.
too because with them creating Ironstein Coffee, also created a purchase of an old building.
Exactly.
to, instead of having it tore down or just sitting there and go abandoned, they were able to utilize it as a storage facility, which is really cool because you're keeping that
And
history.
they're doing a
because
lot of work in that building.
and they yeah
And that coffee comes straight from Columbia. I mean,
Yep.
they actually own 2 fields over there.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
it is. It's really neat. It's a really neat
Great
process.
coffee too. It doesn't. If you notice when you drink that coffee compared to others, it doesn't have the aftertaste.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a smooth, clean.
Yeah.
I guess clean is what I think is how I describe it. I like the minor, the dark roast. I'm a dark roast fan, but the Morganfield is really
Yeah.
good too. And that's cool how they named.
I got tickled. They said when Ronnie Mangley's one that does the brewing and everything, when he first started, he said they were making real light roast, and they didn't realize it's got a whole lot more caffeine. So him and Jerry were tasting it back and forth, and they thought they were talking like this, and their wives came over and said, "Y'all sound like Alvin the Chipmunk."
They were just geeked out on
They were
caffeine.
geeked out on caffeine. But
That's hilarious. Yeah, and I can never, and I'm so sorry, but I can never remember Ronnie's name. I always say Jerry's buddy or Jerry's partner, but yeah, Ronnie Mattingly. That's it.
if you're ever
And
in town, stop by Ironstown. He'll show you how you brew it. It's pretty
yeah,
basic.
yeah, and I know at one point they were kind of opening up at the front section to kind of go
Yep.
in. I don't know if they finished it
They're
or
actually
not
now
yet.
he's still working on it. He's actually got some stone tile on the back wall and everything. So
Okay, so they're still trying to
still
get that
working on
part
it, yeah.
open. Yeah, yeah, and I know if you go in there, they'll absolutely love to show you around.
Oh, they will.
They're proud of it. Morganfield's proud to have them. Barbecue, man, big barbecue hype.
Yep.
Hit a few years ago, and now it kind of turned in. COVID hit. Food trucks.
Yep.
You guys got the food trucks rolling in, and a lot of them are big hits.
And so we got a
in
tourism committee
Morganfield.
now too. So we're probably going to have the bourbon and barbecue festival again,
Oh, that's good.
which that
yeah.
was kind of rough last year because of the weather, but
Yeah.
I think that's something to go down the road bigger.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I've heard a lot of people say they wish they had like a battle of the bands
Oh yeah,
competition. We've got a lot of local talent.
We do.
A lot of local good talent. That would be something neat to
yeah.
see.
And the tourism committee can do things like that. We actually talked about the Corn Fest one year shutting down Main and Morgan and having a band in the middle of a stoplight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody said you can't shut down Main and Morgan. Well, 2 weeks later, somebody drives through Jerry's building and we shut down Main and Morgan.
We did, yeah, yeah. That was a fiasco in itself. But yeah, I mean, I don't see why you can't. We do. We
And see Short Street down here, you saw where he put lights up. Like I put the lights back up and moved a pole the other day, but that's going to be a beautiful little area. We can put picnic tables down there, and you don't affect that be business, so we can have events down there.
So what's the new business there on the corner? That was what's her name? That just I guess she sold it or
Josie?
Yeah, Josie's
Okay, it's
business.
actually she still owns the building.
Okay.
It's the Rising Sun, which they have events like wedding events or
cool. Yeah.
birthday parties or anything. Josie is involved in so much. It
She
just
is.
got to be too much for her.
Yeah.
So, but that's it's really neat. They're going to have a bed and breakfast upstairs.
Oh, that's cool.
They've been working on it quite a bit. When they got time, if you're ever in there, and they're there, she'll show it to you.
Yeah, I need to go in there
One of the doors came to the old people store,
Oh wow.
and it's really neat design. I mean, it looks like kind of like Jen's. Looks like you walked in yesterday.
Yeah, and that's what I love, and I say that all the time. Is that's what I like about Jen's.
Yeah.
Because I can still remember the old Western Auto in Marion, where I grew up, being still open
Yeah.
for a short period of time when I was a kid, and going into those places that had, even the old Sureway that had
Yeah.
those candy things
Yeah.
where you just scoop it out, and a lot of that old stuff from them old general stores, and she's bringing all that back.
And
She's brought all that back.
It is fantastic. Like the old malts, milkshakes,
yeah.
lemon shake ups.
Yeah, like she's got all kinds of stuff, not just candies, but she, like the original, if you will. What is it? What was that era? Was it the 30s and 40s?
30s,
where those
40s.
were
Like I
big?
said, actually in the 70s they were big.
Yeah.
I mean, Fritz's
Okay.
Drugstore had it up there. We used to go
Okay.
up there and get all
Okay.
that. And that's when I tell you one of the towns I really like to look at, and kind of base Morganfield on, is Berea.
Yeah,
You go
Yeah.
downtown, they got the woodworking shop, but you got unique businesses.
yeah,
Because when people come back for something unique, they come to the Gin General Store. That's unique.
Yeah.
They don't tell somebody else, and we got people come every place to look at it.
I always take credit for L8 coming to Morganfield. I moved off to Winchester, my aunt in Lexington for a little while, and my cousins got me hooked on L8 because the L8 factory is right there in Winchester. When I moved back, when my grandma got sick, I moved back, and I wrote them a letter and sent them an email, like almost, I don't know, maybe weekly, there for a little while, trying to get them to get L8 down here. And then 6, 8, 9 months later, it pops up, and it wasn't real popular up until just a few
Yep.
years ago. But yeah, we would go and still collect bottles back in the early 2000s and take them to the stores up there in
Yep.
Winchester, and they would swap. We would get a 6 pack of bottles for them, you know. So that's really cool. That would be neat if they would honor that here, but I don't know if they would or not. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff happening in the city of Morganfield. I'm excited to see, and I noticed you said there's some things you can't talk
Yeah,
about.
and I actually just ordered, or getting the process of ordering a 55-inch signage that'll go over in the front of the lot. That'll just be telling the whole history of the mural and everything.
That's
You can
really
add to it
cool.
all the time. There's a guy named Chris Shrimp who worked at Pyro Mines and got transferred out 2 days for the explosion. He called down and he's actually already purchased it. He wants to put a memorial for the coal miners that died.
Oh, that's really cool.
It started out with the process going to be smaller, it's going to sit in the front of the lot. Now it's going to be a 12-foot statue on top of marble with kind of the people's name and history, and it's fantastic. And we're probably going to end up putting it out there on the edge where the swim pool is, where people can come by and read it and look at it.
So when the splash pad water park thing gets done, the tree is still going to be there.
The
Because
tree's
y'all,
still
did y'all
gonna be there.
plant y'all planted a tree?
Yeah,
Didn't
they
you?
planted a tree, and after the one that we tied up at
Yeah,
here and
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
we had Todd Hancock. That's the first tree he planted.
Okay.
After he
Wow.
bought the system, and when he did, the engine blew up, so it wasn't a very profitable tree.
Oh,
And they, of course,
it cost him a little
the
bit.
process of the Homestead Park is going to have several trees in the back, and it'll have a kind of a nature center with some really unique flowers and everything. And hopefully we can put on there what this flower is. It'll have a big kind of walkway in the middle, will be lined with bricks. We'll probably be selling the bricks. To
Well,
line
that's
that up.
really cool because it's not just going to be a play area; it's going to be like a little
Exactly.
learning center too, as well.
There'll be a autism, kind of an autism playground out there.
Oh, that's really cool.
Vibroacoustics, we just got a grant through Vibroacoustics, and they paid for 30 trees out the park.
Oh, wow.
And most of them
Nice.
are planted, and they've also got grants for environmental stuff, for all-inclusive playgrounds. So
Okay,
Vibroacoustics is a great place. It's been great to work with.
that's really
They
good.
actually have volunteers that come out there and put all the mulch down. They're going to water them. So
Wow, that's really
So-
cool. That's
you
good.
got a local place
So
like that.
about the park, we touched on the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Probably won't ever have another swimming pool because
Yeah.
just because of the funding and price, unless a private investor comes
Exactly.
in and does it. But you got new lighting out there.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Got the lighting at the football field. When I first year we got there, we got lighting at Pony League Field,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when people come out. I was kind of hard headed. So the lighting at Pony League Field was going to be 130,000. So I go talk to the fiscal court and everything, and so I would like y'all to pay 80,000 of it. I got so much grant money, and we can match with labor. So I put a couple of them in charge, and one of them called me and said, "What if we gave 25,000?" I said, 25,000. We're going to get lights. I'm going to make sure they know you're the blame. So they came up with all of it.
Yeah.
Then the county, and I said the county's been a tremendous partner. They just put those lights out there with 231,000
Wow.
at the football field. That was paid for with Coach Service money. The mat at Dunbar Park, $80,000. County went half with us on that. So they've been a really good resource to work with.
Ain't that crazy how something like that is so expensive?
It is. Well, the pickleball court, that's big. And then people kept wanting about one. I said, we don't have the money to build a pickleball court, but I've got 6 acres over there. The county got Coach Service money, so we end up donating land to the county, and they're going to build. It's going to be a beautiful design.
Nice.
They're going to put a really nice bathroom, handicap accessible bathroom, down there at the baseball field.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah.
it'll be extra parking that'll coincide the baseball field too. So that's they work with us just as well. And anytime we create a joint project, they always include me in it. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about
Yeah.
that? So
That's
it's
good. That's really good that have that relationship. You guys put in a walking trail at Dunbar Park,
Dunbar
which is
Park.
pretty.
That a walking trail grant is 80-20 grant. So we match ours with labor, so it costs us nothing.
Oh, wow.
So that was really neat.
Yeah, it's really City of Morganfield's just coming alive.
The
if
park,
you will.
Chris Buckner, our street department supervisor, he's done a fantastic job of the park.
Yeah, they did a good job.
You got people like Kevin Nelson that
Yep,
moved here
yep.
from Las Vegas, painted 50-something fire hydrants. They paint the playground all the time. I mean, they just get out and do it. And he said,
They
I
just-
want to give back.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they're good people.
Yeah,
I
they
know
are.
Kevin. Kevin's good. They're good people, and there's a lot of people in Morganfield that just kind of get out and offer their time.
when
and-
people come back, so I just want to give back a call.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
Well, the planters and stuff that they started doing
Exactly.
with the flowers was really cool.
And we have the master gardeners do those every year. We just pay for the flowers, and they take care of everything, and
Yeah.
it makes it look a lot better. 'Cause
Do you get any, like, does Walmart donate flowers sometimes,
They,
or
they
nobody?
get some donated. Most of them they buy from down there. Walmart people have come in and helped plant them a lot.
Okay, that's what it
And
was. I
that's
knew
what's
that.
crazy. I got somebody complained one day because the Walmart people were planting flowers. They had to walk around them. So
They
I,
could.
so I told my policeman, "You got my permission. If they complain about that, tase them."
Yeah, yeah.
These people are
Wow.
volunteering their time.
People will just people will bitch about
They
anything.
do.
They do. You can't make them happy.
I had somebody gave me a hard time on Facebook one time. I put on there about we're going to have a splash pad. He said, "That's bull. You need to start spending some of your money down Sturgis." No, really, I don't.
I mean, you don't have
Don't have
no. I
anything to
mean,
do with it.
no, and
But
that's unfortunate. That's a whole other story in
yeah,
itself. It's and hopefully some of this new business that's coming in will help them a little bit. I don't know.
any town
Um,
in Union County, I'm for any town in Union County 'cause it makes us all better.
right? Yeah, and no doubt that if they needed help and you were able to
Sure,
do it, you would do it.
exactly.
I mean, we
And I've
know
offered
that.
when things were going forward and everything. I've offered. I come down and look at your paperwork, and we actually helped them out on paperwork a few
Yeah,
times.
and anybody that says you wouldn't do it,
Yeah,
then I'm sorry, they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
because we've had every year I've been there, our audit's been perfect, which I attribute that to Scott and John, the girls up front. I mean, they don't leave till everything matches a penny.
Yeah,
And our last audit, Robbie Barrett, who for Kemper does our audit, he said of all the towns they do, Morganfield is top notch.
that's really good.
Everything down, which is really
this is a
cool.
lot. Yeah. Yeah, man, I wish you could talk about some of those secret stuff that's going on. That's exciting. I'm excited to
With
know.
Morganfield, like, it's crazy.
Uh,
Watch it, when we started out, I started raising money for the mural. It's crazy. The beverage bar donated 2 bottles of Pac-Man Winkle. So then we
yeah,
make $5,000 in auction. Have a farmer come up. Right now, I talk to these church groups all the time. This is a private fund. This is not coming from the city. He comes up and writes a check for $2,500.
that's really cool.
Big Rivers brings a check down 5,000. We didn't even have Big Rivers. It's crazy.
Wow,
Of course, mine donated 20,000.
that's
But
crazy.
the people that just stepped up and people come in all the time write a check for $100. And I'm really paranoid about taxpayer money and city
Right,
money.
right.
So somebody stuck $1.12 in my pocket one day, and that's on the Excel sheet. So every penny is spent,
Yeah,
and I got a copy, and I give one of the girls up front a copy. So
that's really cool. That's neat how, just like we were talking, you do one thing and then it just kind of blooms and
yeah.
blossoms into all of these other
In
things.
the elementary school, did you see the self-guided historical tour that they made?
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's really neat.
You had about 8 elementary schools came, and it's a really neat little trifold. It's got a barcode on it, where QR code where you can.
Yeah.
It tells you they can change it all the time. But these kids came up with it on their own.
Ain't that cool? That's really neat. That's I don't know, man. I think it's going in the right direction. I think you're a hustler, and every now and then. I know you didn't you have some surgery not too long ago, or
Had,
got down, or
I had shoulder surgery.
yeah,
I
yeah.
had shoulder surgery, of course.
And I'm pretty sure I still seen you out hustling and
Yeah, well,
doing your
I had
stuff.
triple hernia surgery one day, and
Yeah.
the next day I walked down to Gin General Store for the grand opening. So I don't stay down very long.
No, you don't. Are you sleeping any more than you normally
I
have?
sleep my average 2 to 3 hours a night.
Yeah.
You might see me walking around town at 2:30 in the morning, seeing what street lights are out.
Yeah. So don't call 911. It's just
The bad
mayor.
thing about 2:30 in the morning, if I see a street light out, I can't walk up the porch and get an address because I'll probably get shot.
Probably.
I go back the next day, but it's just when I broke my ankle years ago, I was in so much pain that I couldn't sleep. It doesn't hurt me that much anymore, but it's just a habit.
Just
I mean,
you just kind of got in that cycle.
that
and
one
that's-
night I was wore out, so I went to bed at 9. Woke up, I feel great. It's 11.
Oh no.
Really,
Yeah, that's
You
that,
don't
I
require
can
much.
see. Yeah, that's crazy. So I don't know if you want to talk about it. I know your son has just
yeah.
got
Robbie, my dad, for anybody who doesn't know, my dad died of colon cancer in '98, and when he never would go to the doctor. By the time he did, his hip was bothering and it spread to his liver, then went to his lungs. Well, just a couple of months ago, my oldest son, Robbie, might get a little sentimental,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
his small intestine blockage. So they fixed it, and they said, you need to go ahead and go to the hospital. Well, it turned out to be cancerous. Luckily, when they ran MRI and a CAT scan, which showed real well, it hadn't spread any other organs.
Yeah.
I think it spread to lymph nodes. So my son-in-law, Rodney's a doctor, so he gets the best doctors. They said he's in good health, which Robbie,
Good.
luckily a couple months ago, he decided to start working out. So the best process is he goes once every 2 weeks for 5.5 hour treatment. He wears a ball home, which he puts in like a fanny pack, and they go back Wednesday and take it out. They think in 5 to 6 months, and they're pretty confident that he'll be cancer free.
Oh, good.
Then the doctor will
Wow.
still go in and laparoscopy remove it.
Right.
He
Yeah.
said it's a real thin wall, but Robbie's tough.
Yeah, he is.
He gets down a couple of days after that, but then you got another week of good before he goes back. So,
That's good. That's good. We're definitely praying
as a
for him.
parent, you know that too. The first thing comes to your mind, why did it me instead of him?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you can't do it. So.
Right. Yeah.
But he's got a great attitude.
Good. Robbie's a pretty
Yeah.
outgoing, personable
I
person.
went over the other day. Yeah, you're
Spirited.
crazy a little bit.
Little
All my
bit.
kids are.
Yeah, every now
You
and
go
then.
over the other day, and 5 man fires. He's on his laptop doing his work because he works from home.
Yeah.
The whole time he's there. So.
Well, good. We're definitely praying for him, and we'll put that out there for everybody.
Our family's close knit. So he's got a lot
You
of
guys
support.
are, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty. My mom's battling cancer as well. It's in her lymph nodes
Yep.
and some, I think, in her lungs too. It's adenocarcinoma. She just finished her treatment just last week before last. So we're waiting that 30-day period for another scan to
But
see.
they've come a long way. What
They
they
have.
do.
They have. That's they have.
You know, when they looked at his and the doctors get together, they were very confident they could take care of it.
Well, good.
Of course, he's also diabetic, but it hadn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't really mess with that. He's
good.
done really good on that.
Yeah, I know he was kind of having a little bit of trouble there for a while with his.
I
with
got
the
ticked when he
diabetes
said
and
he had
stuff.
a doctor in Vanderbilt, a young lady, she's an Asian doctor, and she said, they don't talk like we do. They don't. There's no cutting up. It's like these pants make my butt look fat. Yeah. Anyway, she came up here, Rob, on the weight. She said, you're fat, and he'd lose weight. But he's really funny. But Rob said she was great. Now he's got one in Henderson, and she keeps track all the time. She'll call him, hey, your sugar's up. What are you doing? Or your sugar's down. So,
Good,
So
good.
and he's done real good with it. So.
Well, good. I'm glad to see that he's still in high spirits, and like I said, we're praying for him again. So, yeah, so a lot of stuff going on. Splash pad, and when is the decision on that for the funding? Or
It'll be next Thursday's council meeting, not this Thursday. Next Thursday's council meeting.
okay, so
we've already got the bids and everything, and the bids are really impressive. I mean, there's a lot of work on that. I designed the electrical part of it because her engineer hadn't done that. So I did electrical work for 30 years.
Yeah.
So there'll be 3 plugs for food trucks.
Oh, nice.
There'll be, like I said, every place there's going to be a light. There'll be a speaker because it'd be really neat. In Christmas, we can play Christmas music. You know,
That would be really cool. Yeah,
So-
yeah, and you can probably change the color of the lights
Exactly,
to Christmas
exactly.
light colors, and that's really cool. I'm really excited about it. I'm not even, hell, I might even go down there and play in the water. I don't know.
I may too.
Yeah, I mean, you ought to be the
know I
first
will.
one. You ought to be the first one.
I was out the park one day, and they had a big kids event out there, and had that big slide down there. Of
Yes.
course, you know me.
Yeah.
I have to do it. So they got all the soap on there. But I'm heavy enough, and I got toward the bottom, I knew I wasn't going to stop. So it looked like I hit mud.
Was this before or after your shoulder
This
surgery?
was before.
That's probably what done it.
Somebody said, you ruined that outfit. I said, I got $13 no outfit. Who cares?
Right, yeah.
But there's
Yeah, and that was something we didn't even talk about was the first time, that snow we had the first time at the fire station.
And that was huge.
Chief Dobler and them
Yeah.
got together and done the sledding
We
thing.
had bonfires. Jerry Duncan had free hot chocolate.
Yeah,
The
and
pizza
it was
places donated
packed.
pizza. It was packed out there.
It was such, and the next time I think they had it again.
Yep.
Which is really cool. Hopefully that continues.
Yeah, anytime we get a park, the way it's sloped, you got small hills for little kids, big hills for the other.
And no major accidents.
No,
I mean, of course, you're going to have somebody
Sure.
get banged up a little bit on that, but yeah, that was so
But, I
much
mean,
fun.
it's-
And I still
another-
hear people talking
Yeah.
about how much fun that was and how
And
cool
another
it
big
was.
event we talked about that was put on by the Business Association was the Eclipse Festival. And that was so cool because the weather was perfect. Morganfield popped as one of the sites, but we had people from every state that came up and talked to me. And several of them from Florida and every place else sent me videos afterwards. But that was so cool because what we did 5 minutes before the eclipse, we shut all the generators off. So it was dead silent. And the temperature dropped 15 degrees. It was crazy. People came up and talked to me, talked about how much they love Morganfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
that's
we had people in
from-
Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, the state of Washington. So they said they were driving down and looked at the weather. They said, well, Morganfield's a good spot. So
Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. That was a big deal. That was
it was.
a lot of people
Rick
came
Milk
in.
and them had somebody call at the senior citizen. They were going to take him out. An older guy had cancer, getting ready to put him in ambulance. He said, no, wait. He sit there. They kept him sitting there. He wanted to watch clips. We got an ambulance.
Oh, that's really cool. That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, we'll wrap it up, Randy. Mayor Greenwell. So my question is, are you going to run again?
That's $1 million question right now. I'll be 70. I'll be 73. And my bad problem is I don't know how to do things halfway.
Right.
So
yeah.
you know, the mayor
Well,
doesn't make much money.
There's
And I
a
work
quote.
about 50 hours a week.
I was reading Matthew McConaughey's book,
Yeah.
Green Lights, and I told this before, but when Matthew tells his dad that he wants to drop out of law school and go into theater acting,
Yep.
his dad said, "Well, don't half-ass it." and you
Yeah, that's the
don't.
way. Yeah,
Right, and that's when you do something and you set your mind to it. Anybody that knows you knows that you're going to do it 100%,
yeah.
110%,
And I've got a little
120%.
bit of OCD, so I do a
Yeah,
lot of things myself. Because somebody, I put the lights of Christmas tree last year.
yeah,
I bought 16 rows of lights. The guy puts it up. There's 4 rows. I said, "What are you doing?" I don't think I'm getting more. I said, "No, I don't want a Christmas tree. I want a wow."
yeah.
So anyway, so give me the lift. I'll get up there and put the rest of them
Put
up.
them in, yeah, and you do, yeah. So yeah, that's I think a lot of the kids and a lot of the parents are
Yeah,
looking forward to the splash pad and a lot of good things going down, and it's got to be hard making some of those decisions like closing the pool.
exactly. That was
You
one of the
know,
tough decisions. And
yeah,
that pool got where it leaked so bad, and they put I don't know how many bags of gunite down there, and it just
just
went
wouldn't do
away.
it.
So there was a big cavern underneath there someplace.
Oh wow,
And we didn't realize till a couple of years ago. There's when Chris worked at a football field, there's a bunch of vents, drains down there, and supposedly when they drain the pool, that's how they water the football field. And there's flappers on each one at each 10-yard line.
oh,
We
so
started
the pool
uncovering those.
water would just
Yeah,
water the
exactly. So
field.
that's pretty neat when you got to look at
That's
that and
really cool.
everything.
That's
But
a pretty
that
neat
was a
little
long
thing.
design a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be respectful of your time. I know you got a council
Mhm.
meeting tonight, so hopefully that goes
Yep.
well and you don't have a
And
lot of.
it basically count. It's a special call meeting just because
Okay.
we have to have a bond for the phase 3.
Okay, I
They
got
just
you.
have to prove it. So we'll vote this time and vote again next Thursday.
So the next Thursday is you guys choose which
choose
bid you're
who's,
gonna
who's
do.
contract going to go with. And
That's exciting. That's
you
good.
know, when they came down, we had 4 contractors come down for the pre-bid meeting.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
some of the questions they asked were, "What's your estimated cost?" I have no idea. We've never had this. You can't estimate cost anymore anyway.
Right.
But I said, I do not want something halfway. I want something that's
Yeah.
going to be here for a long time.
Yeah.
Then somebody want to know about time frame. But I've never built a splash pad. But after they get to bid, we'll sit down and give a time frame. And time frame here, just like this year with the rain. Well, I can set a time frame, and if they can't get it because of rain, we're going to work with them. If they can't get it because they're working someplace else, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah. So is that something real quick? Is that something that you put in the contracts or whatever? Like, hey, you got 360 days to build this, but we'll allow you this many days for
Yeah.
inclement weather. or
Well,
whatever.
actually, when after they get to bid, we'll sit down and they'll sign a contract on the time frame. And like I said, and there's things out of their control, which way it's at. It doesn't say whether
Yeah.
things out of control. You could have a tornado, you could have a flood.
Right.
But,
Right.
And I'm not hard to work with. If I know
No, you're
somebody's
not.
doing the best they can, we make changes. Maybe you can't get parts. That was one of them we got a lot of money for that we put in for a natural gas safety infrastructure grant because we had a sewer line out, or a 6-inch gas line at Walmart exposed with a ding in it.
Oh wow.
It didn't go through, so I went ballistic. I mean, I wrote to Governor everybody. That's politics.
Right.
Anyway, so here comes a state representative. Here comes a senator. Here comes one of Bashir's representatives come down everything. So we get talking and talk about the sidewalk to Walmart, 1.2 million. Our part was 219,000. I said, I don't feel comfortable committing 219,000 with phase 3 not being funded yet. They said, we got House Bill 723. If you get approved, they paid 217,000 of it. So the 1.2 million dollars, we're out 2,000.
Oh wow.
We had 2 projects going that we were about $400,000 short on grants, which was the sludge diversion project and the water line out in North Morgan. Normally you get 10% more. As soon as I wrote in 10% more, they said just give them all of it. So I guess it was kind of hush money, but it doesn't work. But it's pretty neat. I came up with about $1 million worth of money just because it was throwing a fit.
Wow, that's really cool. That's right down your alley. I mean, I could see.
I was upset. I mean, I wrote everybody I could write and everything.
Yeah, that's really
I said,
cool.
there's
And
no
that's,
reason that should not have gone through.
and you have to take a lot of credit, and you've got a lot of good people that's backing you and,
You do.
and support you in Morganfield. But your hustle
Yeah.
is kind of what's
And
brought
see, Grant in
Morganfield to
Owensboro is
light.
fantastic on getting money. I go there once a month and talk about here's my dream thing, my next project, maybe 5-6 years, and they may, if a grant comes out that they know that they got a copy of, they may call me 11 o'clock at night. It just came out. What do you say?
Oh wow, that's cool.
So it's
to do that.
so they know what you want,
Yeah.
and as long as you keep them updated, and according to him, I'm the only one that comes over and does that. But it makes a big difference.
It does make a
Hey,
big
here's
difference.
what
I mean,
I'd like
obviously.
to do. If that comes up, let me know and everything.
Yeah.
So, and most of your grants now have to be pre-engineered. So you got a 2-week period. We've got everything we need, like sewer plant is all engineered. So if it comes out, we're immediately ready.
Okay.
So
That's
we
good.
don't have to wait.
That's good. That's really cool. Yeah, man. Lots of Morganfield's really come alive since you've taken
It is
over
neat,
there.
when you
It
have
is.
people come down and talk about how Morganfield, how much different it looks, how great it is.
Yeah.
It was funny when COVID hit. We were low in COVID. Toward the end of it, I opened the park up. So the TV station comes down and interviews me, which is kind of a trap. You open the park up for the government's recommendation. I said, lady, it's time. I'm out here watching people. We're careful. We sanitize
Yeah.
the playground. I got letters from Eastern Kentucky thanking me.
Yeah.
But it's funny, is 6 months later, I'm sitting there talking to a lady down from Illinois at the farmer's market, passing out cards and everything, and kept talking about how nice our town was. I said, I'm the mayor. She said, you're the one that opened park up early. So that'll be on my tombstone when I die. Not that Morganfield saved $20 million. It's kind of like stepping in dog crap. It stays with you forever.
It'll
So I'm
say
always going to be the one that opened the park
the
up
one
early.
that opened the park up early. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Farmers market. Before we go,
Yeah.
when is it opening up? When does
Somebody
it
said the other
normally
day, it's for the
open?
next couple of weeks.
Okay. And what all do they have there?
They have, of course, they have the Wagyu meat. They have a lot of flyers. A lot of people have bakery stuff. It's kind of varies. You got the freeze dried candy.
Okay.
They talked about maybe having on Short Street this year
Okay. Yeah.
because that's a neat little place to start.
It is. It is.
And it's open to a lot of people. Some people bring handcrafts. The people that had the flyer and everything had some really neat flyers. And
Yeah.
I think I bought two. What do they call them? Mosquito flyers
Yeah.
to kill mosquitoes for $5 each.
That's pretty cool.
Tall.
Yeah. And then once vegetables and stuff,
Exactly. They'll all be coming out.
They'll be coming out. That's
And,
always
it's a
hit.
license. It's a licensed farmers market, so you can get the senior discount and use those cards to buy stuff with.
Nice. That's really cool. That's
And
really
it's
cool.
open on people. Anybody can come. If you have baked goods, you got to follow the process. But as far as fruit and everything,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah, Morganfield's got a lot to offer people. And that's if you're traveling through or you're looking for a small getaway destination, Morganfield's got it. It's a pretty quaint town.
Which is one reason we wanted Homestead Park downtown, because we want to promote our downtown.
Yeah.
Let's get people to
Downtown
come
is
down and look at
a
it.
livelihood of any
Because when
city,
you
in
get
my
that
opinion.
splash pad, it's going to get a lot of advertisement.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a big hit. Because it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be different than the neighboring counties.
Yeah,
you know?
League of Cities came by the other day and they were taking a picture of a mural. They said, "Go actually have a mural tour, like a covered bridge tour."
Oh wow, that's
They
cool.
said Morgan would be one of the top ones.
Yeah,
So,
it's our mural. That mural in Morganfield is awesome. It's really awesome.
Well, the coal mine one, I think it's 20 by 20. Never painted one that big.
Really?
And they draw it out with number 2 pencils first.
Wow.
It's crazy. And Steve had never had an art lesson. He learned on his own. I mean, he was sitting there and when he drew Mabel Williams, said she needs a couple highlights in her eyes. He went, just touch it just like if I'd done it, been on her forehead, but I mean, just perfect.
Yeah, man. People who can draw and paint just amaze me. Because I've tried to learn how to do it, and I don't have that gene in me.
I don't
get
take between the lines.
my stick figures are just weird
Yeah.
anyway. So, but yeah. So I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate your time, and like I said, I think everybody looks forward to the next adventure that you take Morganfield on. Congratulations on all the success you've had, and continue that. Again, we'll be praying for Robbie. Hopefully that gets whacked out of there and he's good to go. Tell him to keep exercising and eating right. That's going to help.
He is.
Really.
And make sure sometimes you have to make yourself eat. Like
You do.
that.
It's tough. And I'm not one. I'm one to talk. I'm too lazy to get out there and walk or run and exercise. But yeah. So anyway, thanks for coming out. Hopefully your meeting goes good tonight, and excited to find out who gets your contract for the water park splash pad. That's going to be cool. It's really awesome seeing it start from the ground up, and then now it's finally happening. So
It's
I know
been
that's
a long
something.
process.
Yeah, it has been a long process. It's something you've been passionate about for years. So congratulations on that. And as my buddy Frenchie always says, you guys be good to each other.
I appreciate you coming out here, invite me out here, and I hope your business is great.
Well, thank
It's
you.
really unique, and I'm
I
glad you
appreciate
started.
that. I wanted to do something that was not done all the time, and I really wanted to focus on a lot of local people that's got stories to tell, and I've been blessed. And I always say that it's kind of a cliche word for me to use because it just seems weird for me to say it. But I've got a lot of people lined up, a lot of cool people that's done a lot of great things, even some that I can't even talk about. That's going to be on here. That's hopefully we'll kind of get it out there even more with them being on the podcast. But yeah, it was just something that I've always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I just thought I had the extra bedroom. And I was like, I'm going to create a studio. Hopefully my goal is to find me a bigger studio, set it up, and I'll have somebody running all my stuff over here.
I like
where
your
I don't
name
have
too.
to do it. Yeah,
Front Porch America's different.
yeah. And the Front Porch America thing actually started with my son Turtle. Me and him was just doing silly videos, and we were just kind of come up with the name. And he's like, "Let's just call it Front Porch America." And it was just funny. And some of those videos are on the YouTube channel at the very beginning. So I just kept the name, and hopefully it just continues to grow because it's a lot
Fantastic.
of fun. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun talking to people, and anybody's welcome in that
Uh,
chair, and I've said that over and over, and I truly mean that. There may be people that don't like me or I don't like,
yeah.
but I want them in that chair because we can be civil. We're adults. We can have a conversation because if you've got a story to tell, I want you to be able to tell that story.
That's what I
Because
always tell our council and everything. I said, you should not have six people agree all the time. And we ought to be able to go to council meeting and fight like hell and step out and have a drink and talk about things.
yeah, absolutely,
So,
absolutely. So yeah. So again, I
all
appreciate
right,
you coming.
thank you.
And good luck.
All right.